great to have the company of one of the Hawthorn all-time greats as well, Dermot Brereton, on the line. 5-time premiership day, 5-time premiership night gun. Welcome to you, Derm. Great to have you on.
Hello, Dwayno. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good. Did you see this coming? I presume you might have seen it coming in the wind, but to have it official like this is huge.
100% honest, I had no idea. Did not see it coming at all. I honestly thought it would go through to, he would coach through to about 2024-5. The guys that are playing now, like that, their young brigade who look really good, Day and those types of boys, I thought he'd see those through to maturity. That was just a rough guess. I thought he'd try and go stay the course of seeing 3 generations of premiership players. So I thought he might back himself to win one in 2024 or 2025, something like that, and then call it quits. That was my own read on it. But inaccurate and was not unusual, I might add. And he's decided 18 years is enough. I was just having a brief think while I was listening to your intro there. 17 years now, 18 years at the conclusion of season 2022 next year. At a rough estimation, I doubt there'd be half a dozen coaches that have coached for 18 seasons at the one club. I don't even think
I mean, you might be going back to the 20s. Yeah, you're right. And to think that he's coached more games for Hawthorn than any other Hawthorn coach in history, and he's got more premierships than any other Hawthorn coach in history. John Kennedy, who's got his own statue, has 3 premierships as coach. Now, he's a Hawthorn icon, we know that, but Clarko's coached 4. The great Alan Jeans, who you played under for a long period of time, I don't want to say only coached 3, but he coached 3 of that 5 premiership era with Alan Joyce coaching the other 2. I mean, there's just no second in a way when you look at the numbers and the weight of the resume of Alistair Clarkson.
Yeah, it's rare air, isn't it? When you take Kennedy, even David Parkin will say that his first year of coaching, Kennedy handed him the list and said, "This is the healthiest list of all time. You should win a premiership with this. I'll sit next to you." And he virtually sat in the pilot seat, the navigator seat with him. So that was a very kind way of seeing Parko into the job too, who turned out to be one of the all-time great coaches as well. And Alan Jeans coached a 4th at St Kilda. So, but having said that, to do it at one club is just rare. It's just rare air, isn't it? It is something really, unless Damien Hardwick wins another one, it's hard to see a coach on the horizon doing it.
So is it the right idea? Is it the right decision?
I would think that it is totally Parko's decision. And when you're at Hawthorn, you understand...
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Parko. I said Clarko. Yeah, Clarko's decision. When you're at Hawthorn, you understand the way they think. They rarely gift games. They rarely allow people... they give them latitude. So when you finish your career, everything you've got, you can turn around and you can say, "I earned it." So I would say that there's no way they would look at it and say, "We don't want to lose Sam Mitchell, so we will force a handover." I would imagine the Hawthorn way that's in their blood would be to say, we take the best coach we've got at that period, at that time, and that's who we choose for our coach. Thereafter, I think it's in the hands of the coach whether he wants to or not. So Clarkson, I think, would say 18 years. What's Alistair's age now? I think he's roughly our age, isn't he? Sort of mid-ish 50s, maybe just over the hump of the 50s.
Yeah.
So
53.
He's probably 53. There you go. So he's coming to it'll be 55 when he finishes. He's probably coming to the point in life where, as crude as it sounds, he's making $1 million a year. Money isn't an issue to him anymore, setting up his life. So I think he's probably feeling like, I want to enjoy some of it while I still have all my wits and all my faculties, and I'm a fit and able man, and I can enjoy life with my family. He probably feels that 55 is probably the right age to do it.
Yeah, and when you look at it in perspective, I mean, you could go back to Jock McHale, 8 premierships with Collingwood, 1912 to 1949. But all the coaches that have coached more games than Alistair Clarkson have coached multiple clubs. Mick Malthouse, Kevin Sheedy, even coached multiple clubs. I know he went to the Giants as the guy to get him started, but he still coached multiple clubs. So are you of the belief that Alistair Clarkson will coach elsewhere?
I think if this is Alistair's call, and you wouldn't rule it out. The one thing I would say, though, is I would be absolutely earnest in my belief that Alistair Clarkson, if he retires at the end of season 2022 from coaching Hawthorn, I don't think he will have an involvement, a very significant involvement in football in 2023. If he ever does decide to coach again, it'll be like Lee Matthews after Collingwood. He'll have a couple of years just cruising around doing what he wants. He might, work 1 or 2 games a weekend. With his people would love to tap into his mind in the media and say, "Can you be our special comments in the box?" They would, that would be invaluable. Yep. So he'll have a small involvement in football. He might do the Lee Matthews thing, and then somebody might get to him and say, "We need you. You come and coach us."
So, just a correction, Dick Reynolds also only the one club, coached 415 games with Essendon and 4 premierships. So, ahead of Clarko, premiership-wise, there's not that many. I mean, even Mick Malthouse has coached the most games of anyone, 3 premierships. It's just bizarre to see a guy who, in some ways, is still in the peak of his powers. And he's this Hawthorn icon that we've talked about has been told that you're not required beyond next year. It's still a bit hard to fathom in my mind.
So do you believe that he's been told he's not required?
Well, they're not renewing his contract and extending it. So is that putting two together and getting 5 or?
Yeah, my belief is that Alistair would be. Alistair said it might about do me. You just don't let a coach like that go.
So you think
that's my read
Clarko might have given it away?
Yeah, that's my read on it. Yeah, so I mean, you can word it whichever way you want. That to me, it would be a decision reached in unison, but Clarkson would have the major call in it. I don't think he. I don't think he's the kind. I don't think the club would say to him, "We won't be going ahead with you." I mean, he's the ideal man for any club, isn't it? The only reason you do that.
So you think that if they had their choice, they would have extended Clarko's contract, but it might be Clarko saying that I don't really want to go on beyond my contract. And just a Jeff Kennett quote from the statement Hawthorn released today, by the way, Alistair has served us well in his time at Hawthorn, but we must put our emotions into second place and make the tough but right calls for our club's future. Yeah,
well, that's Jeff's vernacular. And Jeff's management style has always been, he was always, even the way he went about the presidency of Hawthorn, he believed that 2 terms was enough for a president of a football club and should be turned over. So, look, that probably feeds into what you're saying more than what my read on it would be, that there might have been an agreement reached, a consensus reached, that 18 years might be enough. My view, my stance on it is he's still the best coach in it, and there's nothing to suggest he wouldn't be the best coach in it in round 24, 2022.
Yeah, it's a bizarre sort of way to try and understand what's right until we hear from Alistair Clarkson. It's going to be difficult to know, so it's going to be interesting to hear Alistair Clarkson himself explain it to us, so we get an understanding of the truth as to the way. So it did
one thing I'd say, Dwayne, if it isn't totally Alistair's call, it will make for a very, very uncomfortable 2022 round 1 to 22.
Yeah, it's hard to add anything to that term. Been great to have you. I really appreciate you picking up the phone at short notice. But do you think Hawthorn's on the rise? Do you think it could actually work to the point that Sam Mitchell takes Hawthorn back to the promised land pretty quickly?
I think he's a pretty tuned in football person. His IQ on football is he's in the ridiculously brilliant category. When you listen to him, when you're at the club and you can hear him talk about various aspects of football, as I say, he's ridiculously intelligent with his footy IQ. But having said that, some of the greatest coaches of all time were very basic with their footy IQ. They just reached players very well. So there's so much that goes into coaching. So, he's probably proving during his recent journey and this year as well with Box Hill Hawks. I think he's coaching the Hawks, Box Hill. Is probably proving that he does have that ability to reach players and engage with them. And it's a slightly different era now, how you engage with players as well, I might add. Yeah, the old days are a bit gone. But having said that, there was one thing when you mentioned Dick Reynolds, when you mentioned Jock McHale, every person, when they are in the moment of that era, they call themselves the modern era. So you can't really, denigrate somebody because it was 90 years ago. At that time, it was their modern era. Yeah.
Great to have you, Derm, and I'll catch you at Fox Footy on the weekend. We'll talk soon.
Love to, Dwayne. See you, mate. Bye-bye.